fall in. Rocksteady. 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 Two-vet. Fall in. Rocksteady. Two-vet. Fall in. Rocksteady. Fall in. Welcome to the two host podcast starting already. Welcome to the Two Vets podcast. I'm your host, Lawrence Wingate.
And I'm the co-host, Shawn Carrington.
And today we're here to talk about what the Two Vets podcast is all about. And we have a guest host today, Big. We'll bring him on in a few minutes here. Shawn, tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
So a little bit about myself. I am a veteran myself. First, let me start off say it's an honor to be here amongst the veteran audience and speaking to not just the veterans but their family as well. But I also served 24 years in the United States Army. This podcast is designed to be the number one resource for our veteran community when it comes to any legislative actions out there, when it comes to any VA benefits, when it comes to any VSO good work out there, or just keeping veterans within the family. That's what we like to say.
Right.
You know, we don't want any veteran out there to feel like they're disconnected from the family, from their veteran family. Vets need vets, and that's what this podcast is going to be all about. And we're excited to actually push this out to the world. So a little bit about myself. So I always like to say I was raised at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. You know, I did most of my career right there in the 101st Airborne. I was in 3rd Infantry out in Germany. I went to Korea, came back to Fort Campbell, went on recruiting duty. I actually deployed, came back, went on recruiting duty. And then I think I learned a lot during recruiting duty. So I actually did regular recruiting first, and then I was a healthcare recruiting director the tail end of my career before I retired out. Learned a lot. But I will say that my military career really prepared me for what I'm doing today, not just with nonprofits, but also for my business. You know, I always like to say mission. You know, one thing the military showed me, and specifically the Army, you know, and I actually translate this into my business, that whatever that mission is, nothing stops that. You know, I better be dead for that mission to stop. You know, and I think that was a great trait. I think military really instills in each other. But I also think that's a key element to when it comes to your business. So that way you don't get constantly distracted by the many distractors that we have in the world. Teamwork was another good attribute. I think we can't do this stuff alone. You know, as you can see. You know, what Lawrence has been getting on me for about 5 years now about, you know, saying put this together. and here we are. You know, so and then of course, you know, my man Big coming on board. You know, him and I started just trying to keep veterans to the family. You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna hear a lot about him pretty soon. And then of course leadership. So I say leadership, teamwork, and mission. Leadership is essential because I think you must first be able to lead yourself before you can even lead anybody else. You know, and I think that's key when it comes to your business or when it comes to nonprofits or whatever. Is that, you know, if I want people to be on time, I need to be on time. You know, If I want people to be accountable, I need to be accountable. And I think so. Leadership starts with the man in the mirror or the woman in the mirror. All right. But those are the things that I really loved about military service. I had more good times than bad times. You know, of course, there were some bad times. You know, but looking back, there were some exciting times. I think most veterans will say that they really enjoyed their military career. You know, saying after you know we get a chance to look back on it. You know, getting up for PT, you know, that probably wasn't too fun. You know, but thinking back on it now, and I need some PT right now. It was exciting times. You know, what I'm saying. But that's just a little bit. I'm not gonna go on and on. And we'll definitely
you can.
We'll fill up some additional talking points for this series on that. So it's an honor, and I'm gonna pass the mic back to Lawrence.
All right. Well, before I tell you about who I am and what I do, I just want to let the audience know you're gonna hear some words I'm going to use that's not even in the dictionary. and it's okay. We're just going to roll with it. Well, for me, I started my military career December 7th, 1984, with the New Jersey Army National Guard. Went from there to Title 32, which is active duty with the state of New Jersey, with the New Jersey Army National Guard, and ended up becoming a training NCO. Went from there to Title 10 with the National Guard Bureau. So I left New Jersey, ended up in Arlington, Virginia at the National Guard Bureau, and did a lot of advertising, worked for the recruiting command, protocol. We did a lot of amazing things with a lot of amazing people. And eventually I retired in 2007 after 23 years in the Army, and loved every minute of it. I don't miss the hours, but I miss the people,
Yeah.
And, you know, the Two Vets podcast came about when you and I had that conversation about listening to all the stories of all these veterans they have. And what I wanted to hear was those stories of those veterans about their experience from joining to serving to transitioning from military to civilian. But I wanted to add a twist on that is that we rarely ever hear the perspective of a spouse who was married to a veteran or a dependent of a veteran. Want to hear their story of how it is to be a spouse and a dependent of a veteran. So we wanted to use this Two Vets podcast platform to get those stories out. And as well, if they are business owners or if they are creative, we want to get that information out as well. So what we're going to do now, we're going to bring in Big. Now, Big, I'm sure everybody want to know why his name is Big, but I'll let him tell you that story. All right. Let's welcome Big to the show. Welcome to Two Vets Podcast, Big. How are you, brother?
What's going on, Big?
I'm great. I'm glad to be a part of this in whatever way I can, and I appreciate you guys for coming together and putting this together for the different veterans out there so they can share their stories.
Oh, yeah.
So, Big, tell us about who you are, what you do, and why you joined the military.
Well, to tell who I am, when you think about the things that we've gone through in life, that would be, I'll probably be talking next week still.
Right,
I'm
right,
gonna try to shorten this up.
Yeah.
We'll bring you back.
So let's say I was very active in sports when I was growing up, football, basketball, and I excelled at basketball. A lot of people thought I should have went pro, but that wasn't on my mind. I just did not want to be stopped whenever I got on the court.
Right.
If I had the ball, I didn't care who you weren't going to stop me.
Right.
Now, so, Big, was that on the court, or was that PlayStation, or was that Nintendo?
No. So that wasn't NBA Live or Madden. I was on the basketball court.
Just want to clear it up for fans. You know what I'm saying?
40 stitches in this eye from hitting the rim, coming down from blocking a dunk. So
okay.
Yeah, I was a decent player. And so I wound up wanting to always push myself. So I was self-motivated, and I was just very athletic. And then once I graduated high school, didn't have money for college, and I wanted to go to college. So I said, well, let me go into the service. And then I wanted to go into the one that was known to be the craziest or the hardest. So walked into an office and had a consultation with a Marine sergeant, and he asked me. He said, "Well, why'd you want to join?" I said, "To be all I can be." And he kind of like looked at me because that was the Army's logo. And he said, well, sign here. So I went off to Marine boot camp. I was number one in physical fitness out of about 800 guys. Graduated, went into, at first I was going to be a MP, military police. But apparently when I was driving a car without a license at 16, that followed me. And so they was like, okay, well, we can't do that. Do you even have a license yet? And I didn't even have a driver's license at that point either. So I went into artillery. And so with artillery, we had to go to a school in Oklahoma.
Fort Sill?
Fort Sill, Oklahoma. Went to Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and I was one of the first people to get there. But then once everybody else started getting there, they bumped me back to a later class. And I was just thinking, like, how you bump me back when I was one of the first, like, 5 out of the whole group. So anyway,
that wasn't a special ed class, was it?
Special what?
Special ed class.
No, it wasn't a special ed class. No. They could have been, and they said I was too smart for it. Who knows?
Right.
So they put me back, and that year, 87, 88, Oklahoma had the largest snowstorm that they had on record. And of course, I was on that snow duty because I'm brand new. So when I graduated there, I went to a place called Las Pogas. And Las Pogas was in California, right outside of, what's the name of that area? Well, the biggest base in the Marine Corps. I went there, and that's where I started training. So just like something else, I got left behind for the first part, but I was able to get into the advanced driving class, and apparently I excelled at driving. So during that course,
So when you excelled at driving, was that before or after you got the driver's license?
Yeah, I got the driver's license as soon as
I was thinking the same thing.
I got the driver's license right after I graduated.
Okay.
Right after I graduated, I went home for that time. Right
as long as you was legal.
Yeah.
So I was doing that, and I was driving around a lot of the high-ranking individuals, first sergeants. Of course, you learn how to read the map. A couple of times they would have it backwards, you get lost, and then they give it to me.
Right.
So it was a lot of good times, just like we all know. Met a lot of people from all across the world, and in 90, I wound up leaving Okinawa, Japan, to go to the Desert Storm.
Okay.
And so, as Marines, we're normally the first ones on the land. So we were, and then with artillery, I also did some of the advanced party work, where advanced party is when you get to an area, you ride out with a group, and you have to, set everything up so that when the trucks come in, so you have to protect the area, make sure there's no bad guys around, set everything up so that when our trucks come in, they can set up with precision, get ready to shoot, and, things like that. And so I would also drive the advanced party group out while we're over there waiting for everything. It was a little bit boring. And so there were some gentlemen that came to our area. They were service, but they weren't necessarily service. And they needed some volunteers. And before tear was out of their mouth, I raised my hand and stepped up. I needed to go somewhere as opposed to just being in the desert waiting. And just small things that we were doing. So I got a chance to ride through the country at breakneck speeds, doing things that we did. before the war was officially 100% started. And that was an exciting time. Got back to the unit. Once I got back to the unit, of course, we had to fight and go through all those oil fires and things of that sort. So that was the worst part as far as in the beginning with the oil fires, because you would be breathing that in, and I think maybe even 2 months afterwards, you could still sneeze like oil.
Right.
So that was one of that's as far as the physical parts. But other than that, of course, war is war, and all the things that you can imagine that you may or may not see on TV. That's actually what goes on.
Yeah. So before you go to the next thing, we want to take a 30-second break, and then we'll come back and pick it up from there. Okay?
Great.
All right. Be right back. Welcome back to Two Vets. And there he is, Big. Go ahead and pick up where you left off, sir.
Okay, so after the war, came home and did 4 honorable years. And as some veterans, when you don't have you still don't have the resources, you also, you go to look for work. And the funny part about it is that never had a record, did great in the service, and it was even hard to get a job as a security officer. And the funny story is that I had a cousin, and this person had a record, had recently got out of jail, and they were able to get hired as a security guard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I was just like, how do you get out of jail and now you're a security guard?
Yeah.
The job lasted for them about maybe 3 months till they got caught stealing roach spray. Boxes of roach spray. And I was just thinking to myself,
oh man,
probably didn't make a lot of money off the roach spray, but
hey, obviously he needed it.
Right. So Big. So that transitioning from the military to civilian life, what did it? Did you see the reality of, okay, I'm a veteran, so getting a job should be like easier, or did you already knew coming out of the military it's going to be tough?
No, exactly. When you're fed all of the rhetoric about, everything's going to be okay, you fight for your country, not even just go in, but you actually fight for your country and come out. It was just different,
right?
So and my main goal was to truthfully and honestly was to go into the military to get money for college, and second, to make love to beautiful women all over the world. That's the honest. Okay. If I want to be honest, that's exactly why I went in.
And we honest here on Two Vets.
Yeah. So now this is a family oriented show. You know what I'm saying? So
well, I'm being real. I'm being real.
Right.
Yeah, we just want the parents out there just have you close your kids' ears. That's all.
Yep. So well, I mean, that was basically it. I was a great fan of Jet magazine, back in the day, and I had the pictures on the wall, and I knew Soul Train in California, and I knew I'd be going to California, so that was part of my plan. Money for college, I started at at Truman College. And, you know, a lot of times when you're young and you really don't know exactly what you want to do yet, you just take courses.
Right.
And so I went into humanities. And while I was at school, I formed a corporation with a couple of guys that were also veterans. And one of the things that we did to raise money was create a manual. And so I created a manual, and it's still around today. It was called Incorporate Now, Make Your Dreams Come True. Because a lot of people, they didn't even know the process of what it takes to incorporate, all of the different steps, and then how to build out. So from that manual, it started me on what I do now, which is real estate business and assist people with funding. And so I do have a lot of manuals, but that was the first manual that started it all. And we were selling that for $19.99, raising money.
Well, Shawn, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, so Big, during that transition process, when did you truly tap into your entrepreneurship side of you that put you on the journey where you're at today?
I would say when I did finally get a job, I worked at a hospital. I was an environmental serviceman. That's the fanciest name that I had heard for janitor back in that at that time. And I remember Marriott had the contract with Northwestern Memorial Hospital, and Marriott liked my work ethic, and they invited me to. There was going to be a Monday. I was going to go to Marriott to get interviewed to be a manager, and pull from there. But you know, when you're young, you don't think too much about certain things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, decide to do things that you should maybe not have done. So
Right.
I decided that there was an incident that happened in the hospital, and one of their managers, the way they were talking to this older gentleman, this employee, it just rubbed me the wrong way because, you know, we always have to, you know, think about taking care of our seniors because we're going to also become a senior one day.
Right.
And at that point, I did not even want to go to become a manager or anything. So I started doing door-to-door sales. So I even left the hospital, and doing door-to-door sales to make money is a hard thing, but it teaches you how to really, the more doors you go to, the more people you talk to, the better you get at getting yeses.
Right.
And so from that point and still going to school, it honed my skills about just basically getting what's needed for you to survive, but not cheating anyone.
Right.
You know, and I think so. One of the things that, you know, like Shawn mentioned also with the military was that the things that it teaches you, how you can still do the right thing and get it done without having to do the wrong thing and then face consequences later. So I wanted to make sure that the things that I did do was always going to be on the up and up. And me being from Chicago, Illinois, and from the streets, you do understand some things where you never want to look over your back.
Right.
And in order for a person not to look over their back, they've got to do things the right way. And in that way, you know, you'll be a better person. So during that, I was in love with Carlton Sheets.
Okay.
And Carlton Sheets had the no money down real estate program.
Right.
And I like Carlton Sheets the most because he reminded me of the gentleman that was, he had a little show on TV, and Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Yeah, you do look like him.
And Mr. Rogers, he was a hard guy because he was also in the service, and he was very well known for the things that he was able to do. And but Carlton Sheets had that type of warm, you know, feeling, and he was, you know, not gonna get you excited and all this hoopla. He was just like, hey, this is how you do it. This is what, no down payment. That's the step. Oh, is that a collector's item?
Collector's
Yeah,
item right here.
we all been there.
It's not even open.
Hey, Carlton,
Yeah.
Carlton sheets.
All the sheets. Yep.
Yep.
So I went ahead and I got that course, and then I started going to every workshop that came to town. I spent, well over 10 grand going to weekends and 3-day events just to learn real estate. Then finally, I was able to get my first property. It was a 2-flat with a coach house. And that property allowed me to basically have $80 a month was my mortgage, because the other 2 units were paying everything. They were paying the mortgage and just everything. So
Okay.
then later I also put just $250 down. And based on everything I'd learned creatively, I was able to make that deal happen. And then I picked up a 2-unit with a basement through a quick claim, and not counting how many people that I've helped, but those first 2 properties pretty much had me set. Then the business side came a lot later, because a lot of people were coming from the Incorporate Now that wanted to do more than just incorporate. So I got into helping them learn how to brand themselves from A to Z. And then with funding, I had became a mortgage loan originator, worked with a couple of companies, learned the ins and outs of funding, and then later learned business funding and all of those things. And so that's really my passion today, is real estate, business, and funding. And my future wife, she loves to travel, and so it was her idea for me to get a midnight shift or whatever at a hotel. So I'll work at about 3 to 5 days a month at a hotel. I get all of those points, and then when we travel, we even save more. But you get to meet people at the hotel and then build other relationships. That's business.
So Big, do you think that knocking on all those doors help you make those connections in the future?
Yeah, well, it made you good with getting to yes. Because it's almost as if when most people go through life and they'll just steadily walk that same circle.
Right.
They don't try to get better, or they don't know how to, or the truth of the matter is they don't know how to get better.
Right.
And so if you keep hearing no's, then you have to change your approach. Like, why did this person say no? Now you're gonna always have people who just soon they're not even gonna open the door, they're just gonna say no.
Right.
You just hear a no coming from the door. But when they open the door, you have a chance. And it's just also the same with marketing now, where going door to door could also be what we consider an email. If you send out a mass email, how many people open that email? How many people, after opening the email, click on the offer? And then how many people, after clicking on the offer, takes that offer? So you have to narrow things down to get to the point where you can get more of a percentage of people that open and pay. You could have 1,000 people open, nobody pays, then something's still not right. So you have to just keep tweaking until you get to the point where you have it.
Right. Okay.
Right. Okay.
That'll work.
Yeah, I actually love hearing your story, Big. I think you always talk about connecting the dots, and listening to when you talked about the hospital experience and the janitorial experience with the Marriott contracts and stuff like that. And what the audience may not know right now, Big actually owns and operates one of the largest Airbnb cleaning services right now here in Charlotte and surrounding cities. So kind of hear that and how it's connected now. And then going from that Marriott time then to now the hotel that you're in now, I like to connect the dots, and I see it full circle, so definitely want to say congratulations to everything that you're doing, not just as an entrepreneur, as a fellow veteran, but also as a brother out here, man. So we definitely appreciate that. Appreciate you, and we look forward to the next episode.
Oh yeah, this is a pleasure, honor coming on here. I can't wait to hear the different stories that the veterans have, and how they came about and where they at now. And then the biggest part is and still working with you two guys is that we're men of the same mind, the same caliber, and we really want to help people, and to give them that hope. And so I'm honored to be a part of this group as a guest host, and I look forward to making some things happen for the community.
That's what we all here for, man. Because one thing I noticed years ago, prior to me leaving the military and watching other people leave, is that the communication breaks down. And next the veterans are all over in many different locations, and sometimes they're in places where there's no veteran organization, no veteran support or anything. So one of the reasons why Shawn and I created Two Vets podcast is that we want them to have a platform where they could come and build that relationship, that build that communication, as well as get the information and see other veterans out there, and also bringing on subject matter experts to talk about, put out information that veterans may not know about or haven't heard about, or talk about programs that they may need, or if they don't need it, take the information and pass it on to people who may not be able to see the show. So big, we, again, we appreciate you. Shawn and I, we're always going to have your back no matter what. And whatever you need, we're going to be there for you. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to a commercial break, and Shawn, you and I come back and we'll talk about some other things. So big, man, have a great day, man.
All right, appreciate you guys, and look forward to working with you.
All right, brother.
Same.
All right, we'll be right back. Welcome back to Two Vets. Shawn, Big does some amazing things, brother.
Oh man, yeah, that was a lot, man. I was soaking it all in. Yeah. He's doing a lot of great things. Looking forward to actually hearing the rest of the things that he's doing. Because I know he's doing a lot of great work here in Charlotte.
Right. Tell the people what you do with BVEC, if you want to get into that. And tell me what BVEC is.
I appreciate that. So right now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm currently the Chief of Staff of BVEC, which is the Black Veterans Empowerment Council. And what we're doing is connecting the dots and bridging the gap. All right. Mm-hmm. We've noticed, and I've noticed actually transitioning out of the service, that there was a huge gap between our Black veterans and a lot of our minority veterans when it comes to the benefits and the services that are already out there. We don't feel that it's a need for additional programs and services. We feel that the gap is the disconnect from those programs and services to our veteran community. So what BVEC is going to do, we're going to do that in 4 areas. Not only are we going to honor history, but we having a lot of legislative actions that we're tackling on the Hill itself. We're focusing on benefits utilization. We want veterans to utilize their benefits. The VA is there for you, and I think unfortunately it's a large portion of the population that doesn't feel the VA is there for them, and we want to change that. The VA is there for our veterans, and we just want to connect those dots. We're doing advocacy work, of course, and then housing stabilization. How can we curb the issues when it comes to homeless veterans? Right now, Black veterans make up a small percentage of the military force, but make up a large percentage of the homelessness across this country. So we want to actually work on that. And then, of course, how do we curb suicides within our veteran communities? That's huge. One way is actually this podcast. We want to honor those enlisted men and women. Of course, we're going to focus on everyone, our enlisted and our officer teams. But where we see the greatest need is a lot of our enlisted men and women are not highlighted on the service of their careers and not talked about within their own families,
Mm-hmm.
within their own communities, within their own source of employment. So
Right.
BVAC is going to actually uh, lead that effort across the country to actually highlight that and bring those veteran stories to life, and by way of Two Vets podcast. So we're excited about it. BVAC is doing a lot of great work. We got a lot of stuff that's going to be coming out on the progress that we made in 2024. And right now, we're currently working on the strategy for 2025. And it's going to be an ongoing thing. You know, we look forward for every veteran to come on board. The website is www.bvecinc.org. Once again, that's www. Bravo Victor Echo Charlie India November Charlie Oscar Romeo Golf. Had to go back on my memory banks, but I got to go back on my memory banks on that one. But I got it. Definitely join, sign up. It's free to sign up right now. I can't say in the future it's going to be free, but right now it's free. So we definitely want you to be a member of the organization. Stay connected on the progress that we're making, and we look forward to hearing any of the concerns that we
Right.
may not be aware of from those individual veterans out there. So that's what we're doing. We're excited about it, and we look forward to talking about it more.
One other thing I want to mention is that although we are hosts of this podcast, but Shawn and I do a lot of things outside this podcast. We're always in the veteran community. I'm in the veteran community, the entrepreneur community, the creator community. So what Shawn and BVEC does is fight for veterans at the federal level. And I, as the chairman of Wingate Studios, which is my company, we are a multimedia film and streaming studio. And what we do, we help fight for veterans at the grassroots levels as well. So what we're looking for is a lot of nonprofits. We're looking for profits, as well as individuals to partner up with in order for us, not just here in Charlotte or North Carolina, but also across the country. We look for people to partner up with in order to use share resources to help the veterans out there that are struggling, them and their family as well. And one of the things that most people, when they think of a veteran struggling, they think of it may be a male veteran that's homeless. But there are a lot of female veterans who are homeless with children. And we start to see that more and more every year. So, between BVEC and Shawn's company, Mr. Shawn Biz, in which he'll get into that, and with my company, Wingate Studios, we can't do it by ourselves. We're going to need a village. We're going to need a force. We're going to need an army in order to help veterans and their families who are struggling. And especially now that we're going into the holiday season, we're still out there doing what we need to do in order to make sure our brothers and sisters can get through the holidays in order to live on another day, here. Also, tell them a little bit more about Mr. Shawn Biz.
All right, I'll show us. So, Mr. Shawn Biz. So, MSB Leadership, I like to say, it's a strategic leadership company. I focus on using the game of chess. Actually, that's why I teach leadership principles and business principles out of the game of chess. I work with a lot of youth, but I also work with adults. Really focusing in right now on parent engagement and parent workshops. We have a lot of focus on the fruit, but we all know that the only way to get good fruit, we got to have a good tree.
Exactly.
So we want to make sure we empower those parents as well. Make sure that if they may or may not know certain parenting skills or how to navigate this landscape today, we also know that parents are very, very, very busy at this time. So we want to make sure we pour into the parents, and therefore it could be the force multiplier to pour into their children, and then we'll make this city, the state, and the country that we live in, the world that we live in, a better place for all of us. So MSB Leadership, aka Mr. Shawn Biz. I do a lot of guest speaking in the schools. We do a lot of field trips. I like to expose the children to not just what they're learning in the classroom, but I want them to see it. I'm
Right.
a firm believer that if they see better, they do better, and I want to just get people out of that box. I noticed when I was young, sometimes you think that that's what it is. You think that's what life
Right.
is. Say neighborhood, your block, whatever it is, until you get out there and you see a whole big world. Military really showed me a whole big world. You know what I'm saying? And I want to empower our youth here in the local area and beyond to do the same things. It's a lot of amenities right here in Charlotte, and we're looking to connect those dots so that youth and our adults are able to kind of see that and experience it. So that's what we do with Mr. Shawn Biz. Like we also teach chess. So for those that want to learn how to play chess, but the focus is on the principles, leadership principles out of the game of chess, and entrepreneurship principles out of the game of chess. And that's what we're doing. So I actually run 3 businesses. I run an asset management company, which is S.LLC, which is in real estate. I've been a real estate investor for about 30 years now. So definitely have a lot of experience on that. As you saw earlier, I too used to read up on carton sheets and hear all the videos and went to all the seminars and all that stuff, but it fired me up many years ago. And I've been on that mission ever since.
Right.
But I also run Kingdom Leadership Connections, which is a parent workshop service, and that's what we focus on. And we focus on manhood development within that organization. We feel like our men are in a crisis right now, just on the development stage. There's a big difference between males and a man, and we want to make sure we lead that effort to grow our men. Because when our men are stable and in the position and in place that they need to be, a lot of things will fall in place and be fixed across our family units in the community. So that's what those businesses focus on. I'm excited about it. Also have a book club out there, trying to get everyone to read,
Yeah.
on a mission to get everyone to read. It was told a long time ago that if you didn't want, a group of people to not know, put it in a book. I took that as a personal challenge. You know what I'm saying? So now I will read, and make sure I get that information for myself. And I want to actually do that with others. So definitely join the book club. It focuses mainly on entrepreneurship, but we also do, some personal development and books and stuff like that as well. Don't read too many love stories. That's not it, but I can.
We need love, man. Everybody need love.
Yeah, I'll point you to the Hallmark Channel. I'll say, all right.
All right.
But yeah, but that's a little bit. That's a little bit about what we're doing, and we're excited and pumped up. And like Lawrence said, we can't do this alone. So we're looking for everyone to join the team, join the movement, and let's make it happen together.
All right. Well said. So this concludes the Two Vets podcast, and what we're going to do, connect with us, and I'm going to show you where you can connect with us at. And I want you to have a great day. And if you're a veteran or a spouse or dependent, we want to hear from you. Have a great day.
Have a good one, everybody.
All right.
Fallout. Rocksteady. 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 Two Vets. Fallout. Rocksteady. Two Vets. Fallout. Rocksteady. Fallout.